Welcome to the NHL picks of November. Today we are watching every NHL video that is on there. So we're going to look up Eclipse. And we're going to be looking up Next Man Up and Jonathan Hockey. We got a lot of content to get to, so this is going to be a long video, so you better get ready.
This has been one of the strangest NHL preseasons I can remember, and we need to talk about it. So today, instead of one or two shorter videos, I'm going to do a roundup and breakdown of some of the biggest stories across.
Oh yeah, happy Halloween.
Most interesting, the now very public spat between Jeremy Swayman and the Boston Bruins, and this has gotten ugly. I'll get to the breakdown in the background in just a moment, but today the Boston Bruins...
If you don't know, Jeremy Swayman is the main goalie or head goalie for the Boston Bruins, and their backup goalie Allmark just got traded, so let's play.
And Cam Neely, president of the team, took the very strange and rare step of publicly calling out their supposed number one goaltender during contract negotiations. They put down the contract they supposedly offered him in front of everyone to see. A $64 million contract, most are guessing 8x8. With basically exasperation that he hasn't signed yet. Other contracts were brought up during the press conference, but this is the one that got all the attention because you can see the Bruins executives are clearly trying to put the pressure of the public on Swayman during these contract talks. The big quote of the night from Cam Neely was, "I don't want to get into the weeds with what his ask is, but I know that I have 64 million reasons why I'd be playing right now." And I mean, Cam Neely, a career shortened by knee injuries, I think he appreciates the possibility of guaranteed money. For their part, Swayman's camp responded publicly by saying, "This is a really strange situation, but this $64 million mentioned, we've never heard about that. There was no offer reaching that level. We're extremely disappointed, and this was not fair." So I'll get to the breakdown in a second, but we're very lucky to have today's video sponsored by friend of the channel, Manscaped. They sent us the new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Forged Gold. I gotta say, I love...
You know me, I don't look at this stuff. I'll probably need it in a couple of years, but not right now. Maybe not a couple of years.
Learning that when Boston is talking about signing Swayman, the main line they've been trotting out is that they're confident they can get it done before December, which is the point where you need to sign free agents to play for the year. The thing is, Boston has completely misplayed a goalie situation, which, I don't know, I'd say 28 of the other teams in the league would have been jealous of. Ullmark was moved to Ottawa, and not only was I pretty unhappy with their return there, broke it down in a video at the time, by the way, if you're interested, but they moved all the power to Swayman because, let's be honest, Swayman is probably better, but Ullmark, more than serviceable as your team's starting goaltender. Obviously, the trade market is more difficult if you're in a position of weakness with one...
I wouldn't say Ullmark's less than Swayman in capability of winning a game, handing their team the game in a victory. I wouldn't say Ullmark's not capable of doing that. I wouldn't say. And I bet Eek wouldn't say that either. But I disagree that he's saying that that Swayman is better than Ullmark. I would say they're exactly the same. I would say one's not very different. I would say both of them are very the same. They're basically the same in the way that their goaltender style works. Both of them, they work. They're basically the same. So yeah.
Of the goalies signed on an extension, but I've been
This is
worried
gonna be a
about this for the
long
Bruins
video.
ever since Swayman started publicly discussing the upcoming contract. He talked about having studied business at Stanford, which, alright, and that he wanted to make sure he wasn't screwing over the goalie market by taking a low deal. And I know people often wonder, why do these players try to get as much as they can out of each contract? Is 7 by 8.5 really that much different than 7 by 9? When you're already so wealthy? And maybe not, but a lot of the players and the NHLPA as a whole feel like it's a player's duty to earn as much as they can, not just for themselves, but because they'll be used as a comparable when guys are signing their own contracts later on, whether they're as good or significantly worse. If it is true that Swayman wants more than $8 million a year, however, I do think he's going to lose a bit of public support for what that matters anyway, and I think that's why the Bruins put the number out there. Keep in mind, Jeremy Swayman has only 132 NHL games under his belt. He's asking for a major commitment, and if I'm a Bruins fan, I do not want them paying more than $8 million a year. But another truth is that I think the goalie market has a reckoning coming. Similar to how I think D-men, especially after the last two off seasons, are now seeing major bumps in pay. Jeremy Swayman, I would argue, is a top 5 goalie in the NHL. He's right on that level with Hellebuck, Shesterkin, Demko, Vasi, and the like. And it is kind of wild that for a top 5...
Hellebuck's one of those players that I think he would have performed better if he was, say, on the Oilers. In a better market. No, I'm not saying the Winnipeg Jets aren't a good team. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if he was in a better market for, like, selling, or, if he was on a team that has a big player that's pretty famous, I'm not taking that back, Jets, he would probably perform better. That's why I think. I swear, if he already got traded out, it's gonna be funny. What?
Position player in a position on the ice for the entire game, making or breaking an NHL team, we seem to be capping out at around $8 million a year, with some exceptions like Bobrovsky, who's getting 10. Now, I think that's going to change when Shesterkin signs his new contract, which is probably going to be $12 million a year. But
ooh, Taylor Swift! Woo! Yeah, I'm just kidding.
for a top 5 forward right now, say Panarin, you're looking at $11.5 million. So yeah, I don't know how this situation is going to play out. I don't think Boston is interested at all in a sign-in trade or anything like that. But let me know your thoughts down below. So the other really big story this week is the Patrick Laine injury, and this just stinks. Obviously, preseason game against Toronto, he's crossing the blue line, full-on knee-on-knee collision with the Toronto player, and I'm not going to get into whether this was on purpose or not, and it doesn't matter, really. Laine obviously has suffered a very serious injury here and could realistically miss the entire NHL season. I'm gutted for Laine, whether through injuries or the player. But yeah, and wouldn't you know it, first game of the regular season, guess who the Montreal Canadiens will be playing? The Toronto Maple Leafs. Wednesday, October 9th. It'll be entertaining. Oh, I should also mention in the same game, David Reinbacher also went out. It didn't look like very very much, but there's worried that he'll be out long term as well alongside Line, so it just stinks. Two last things I wanted to quickly mention. For one, everything I've seen of Utah has been great so far. They released some of the concession prices today, and it's shocking how low they are. It's like they took the square root of what you'd pay at a Leafs game. And we also saw a preseason crowd at their stadium, and
yeah, it looks like Utah's gonna be good. And that's weird to say because they used to be the Arizona Coyotes. Kyler, the Coyotes are finally good. The Utah Hockey Club is a good team.
I don't care. I'm worried.
It's amazing.
it looked great. I'm super excited to watch them play. But moving away from NHL preseason news, as some of you know, we like to cover the Halifax Mooseheads, my local CHL team on the channel. Definitely going to be doing more vlogs this year. You guys love those. But this was supposed to be a rebuilding year, but they went ahead and started the season 4-1, which included wins against Cape Breton and Moncton. Pretty strong teams. They did have their first loss of the season tonight against the Charlottetown Islanders. That was 3-1, but they've got their home opener next week, and I'm pretty excited. Now listen, this is the CHL. Weird things happen. I don't think the Mooseheads are going to be a real playoff contender this year. I will say Mathis Rousseau is probably the best goalie in the CHL. Unfortunately, he may be one of those guys like destined to dominate in juniors because he's kind of small for a goalie, 5'11", meaning that he'll stick around and continue to dominate. But I would expect that the Mooseheads have a pretty mediocre to bad season, then move him at the trade deadline to expedite their rebuild. But I guess we'll see. Anyway, if you guys want more of these longer videos, maybe once a week or so, especially once the season gets started, let me know. But thanks again to Manscaped for the sponsor, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
The United States Military Academy, West Point. It gave me the code I live by. Duty.
All right, so an interesting update to a story we previously covered here on the channel. I'm going to give the Cliff Notes version here. If you want a deeper understanding, watch the past video. But as many of you know, Robin Leonard, and I think it's safe to call him former Vegas Knights goaltender, has been out of the NHL for a while. He last played in 2022 and has been dealing with a variety of physical, mental, and yes, also life and financial difficulties. He's been on LTIR for Vegas. However, this season at the start of training camp, he did not report for his physical, which was very strange. LTIR players, even if they're not going to play the season or don't want to play, have to show up to get the physical. Anyway, it was announced today that the NHL, the NHLPA, and Vegas have reached an agreement where Robin Leonard is essentially going to be wiped off Vegas's books, though the player will still receive salary. Now, a lot of people are unhappy about this, and I understand that instinct. Vegas, people feel like they've gotten...
They're spending money that they don't need to spend. He's gone. He's not in the record books. He's not on the team. Yes, I do think he should get paid in the financial statement. But this might prevent new Vegas players, new Golden Knights players from coming in because the salary is too big because they're paying off an old goaltender. Yes, I support them giving him money because he's in a financial problem. But if it's a significant amount, let's say it's... I'll be fine if it's under $2 million. You want to know what? I'm fine with this, you know. Just getting crazy over
every bit
nothing.
of help from the NHL possible, from the draft to manipulating the salary cap to winning a Stanley Cup already. And I
want to
get it.
know
They
how
see
much
this
he's
as
getting
essentially the
paid,
team
because
getting out
if
of
it's more than $8 million, that's a lot. It's a lot to get paid. What is his name?
Now, a lot of people are unhappy about this, and to play the season or don't want to play have to show up to get the physical. Anyway, it was announced today that the NHL, the NHLPA, and Vegas have reached an agreement where Robin Leonard is essentially going to be wiped.
Robert Leonard.
According to Wikipedia, Robert Lawrence Leonard, known by...
goalie. How much is he getting paid? I wanna know how much he's getting paid.
Hello hockey fans, Oddman Rush here and welcome back to another video. Over the last few years, we've looked at several NHL players who have filed for bankruptcy during their respective pro careers. Whether it was Jack Johnson's parents...
Alright, so an interesting update to a story we previously covered here on the channel. I'm going to give the Cliff Notes version here. If you want a deeper understanding, watch the past video. But as many of you know, Robin Lehner, and I think it's safe to call him former Vegas Knights goaltender, has been out of the NHL for a while. He last played in 2022 and has been dealing with a variety of physical, mental, and yes, also life and financial difficulties. He's been on LTIR for Vegas. However, this season at the start of training camp, he did not report for his physical, which was very strange. LTIR players, even if they're not going to play the season or don't want to play, have to show up to get the physical. Anyway, it was announced today that the NHL, the NHLPA, and Vegas have reached an agreement where Robin Lehner is essentially going to be wiped off Vegas's books, though the player will still receive salary. Now, a lot of people are unhappy about this, and I understand that instinct. Vegas, people feel like they've gotten every bit of help from the NHL possible, from the draft to manipulating the salary cap to winning a Stanley Cup already, and I get it. They see this as essentially the team getting out of a bad contract. And for some people are going to say, well, he's on LTIR anyway. It's not like he counts against the cap. That's not really true. In simple terms, when a player goes on LTIR, their team is basically given a cap bonus, but it still affects the rolling cap, which a team accrues throughout the season. That's the very short, very basics of the situation. Why I don't think that's a fair sort of portrayal of the situation, however, is that Robin Lehner gave Vegas an opportunity to either suspend or terminate his contract. There are rules in the CBA about reporting to training camp. He obviously didn't. The way I see this, Vegas and the NHL are essentially trying to do Lehner a favor because it's clear he's cut all ties with the team, but obviously does still need the money. So I actually think Vegas is the good guy here alongside the NHL, which seems shocking to say, especially for Vegas. Obviously, this money will be going mostly to creditors. I'm not even sure whether Lehner lives in America anymore. He very well may have returned to Sweden, who knows, but that's just speculation, and I probably shouldn't do that. But that's all I've got. Let me know your thoughts on all this and more down below.
Hey, if there's a GoFundMe, go fund him. Go give him money so he can pay for bills, medical bills, and yeah.
Ever wonder what it looks like to lose in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals? Well, Amazon's new series has you covered. And no, this isn't a sponsored post. They're probably not going to be happy about me giving away the big moment of their series, but you can watch portions of it here, and I've linked down below.
I'm going to get copyright claimed. You want to know why I'm so angry? Is because he's just covering one show. And I'm showing this. He's showing one show from the trailer. The trailer. Yes, I get it's copyrighted. But it's the trailer. It could be cut from the show. It could be cut from the game. It could be cut from the material that I'm getting the trailer from. So YouTube, watch this clip. Whoever at Google's watching this, rather your name be Ron, rather your name be James, rather your name be Catherine, watch this and think about what I'm saying. Before you consider copywriting this video, think about what I just said. Think about it very hard. And don't copyright it. Think about that. It's your decision, YouTube. And I hope you make the right one.
The description to watch the whole thing. I actually haven't been through the whole series myself yet. I watched the first episode, the last episode, and I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed right now. I think a lot of people are pointing out that some of this feels like it's for more casual fans. It's very, very flashy, maybe a little less honest compared to what we got with the
Kit
HBO
Kat
series,
bars
but
look
we're getting a
weird?
look inside both teams' locker rooms during
Kit Kat bars.
Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Not only that, the Edmonton Oilers gave us a couple minutes before kicking the cameras out where we saw arguably the greatest hockey player of the modern era get as close as he could to winning it all and failing. There's not many other documentaries which give you...
Oh, crap.
that sort of insight. Anyway, if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, which you probably do, you can watch the documentary for free. I'm going to be going through it over the next week or so, pulling out some of my favorite moments, as long as Amazon plays at least reasonably nicely with copyright. But that's all for me. Let me know your thoughts on all this and more down below.
Wait, this goes
Under Kamala Harris, over 13,000 illegals convicted of murder.
No. What? No, my bag's green. This is. It's what it was last night.
Ever wonder what it looks like to lose in Game 7?
No, I have more chips. Meh.
I probably called this video, "This is Wacky," or something like that, and the title refers to two things. One, the save Jacob Markstrom made in the first game of the NHL season, and two, the fact that, yes, there is a first game of the NHL season, or rather there was today, despite the fact that the preseason continues. But let's talk about the save first. Tonight was Game 1 of the 2024 NHL Global Series, which was played in Czechia. It was the Devils versus the Sabres, and the Devils, under new coach Sheldon Keefe, came out hot against the Buffalo Sabres under new old coach Lindy Ruff. And honestly, I don't know how Sabres fans can feel great about this one. This looked like Buffalo through their bad stretches of last season. First goal for the Devils, they're clearly up on the Sabres. They're playing more aggressively. The Sabres win, but they're penned into their own zone. A bad exit pass, Devils take it. Stefan Nason, so much room, 1-0. Sabres didn't look much better on the second goal. People losing their men, sort of lazy skating, honestly. Devils shoot it from the point and it finds its way in. The Sabres did have a few good chances, but Markstrom stood strong for the Devils. They could be dangerous this season.
Have you ever realized that the NHL is less violent than it was in the 80s and 90s? I wish it was, a little bit more scrap and fight.
A save came at the end of the first, just a desperation paddle stops Obey Kubel after the Dahlin shot, and yeah, early contender for save of the year, and the NHL season hasn't.
You know what would taste good? Like a Twix Kit Kat bar, like a caramel bar with the waffle like thingies and the kick.
Really even started. Anyway, the Devils would take this one 4-1, but that takes me to my next point. What is the NHL doing with this sort of scheduling? Do they not want excitement for the start of the NHL season? Having a real regular season game, which counts as preseason games, are not only still continuing, but will be continuing until Monday, is just baffling. Also, opening night for the NHL, there's only 3 games. I'm most excited for Blackhawks Utah. Then come when
This is very stupid that they're doing this. And you know, the preseason is the preseason and the
Wednesday
regular
more games
season
and
is
Saturday is the
regular
first
season.
really big game day. What I don't understand is why do they not make any effort to kick the season off in an exciting way? I know there are scheduling difficulties, but if it were me, nailing
The NHL is dying, and Gary Bettman's dying with it. Not literally, he's not literally dying, but I think at this point, Gary Bettman doesn't care about the NHL anymore. He's like, I'm tired of owning this league and people being angry at me, calling it scripted, like the Edmonton Oilers didn't win, and, you know, I called it for the Florida Panthers, baby, and no one can take that away from me.
the start
This
of
is
the
gonna be
regular season
really
would be the thing
long.
that all other considerations work around. For me, that means we start on a Saturday. We have at least 5 games, probably 7. And instead of it being a separate thing on its own day, I'd have the global series be the early game. Then you can stagger games and make a big deal out of it. Like, the NHL season started off with a whimper, and I just think that's really counterintuitive. And there's also the fact that the NHL season is starting when the majority of fans are at work. Like, I think the global series is a great idea, and as part of a proper season start, totally for it. But, like, early afternoon or late morning on a Friday doesn't make sense to me. Now, on
The NHL traditionally does later games, like at 7 and 8, like those sometime after 8 or slightly before, meaning 7. So I don't understand why they would do it in the early afternoon, like around 1 or 2 o'clock. I'm still at school. Some people are at work right now. Some people are doing other things than work at that point. Some people have a job, but they just don't work that day, and then they will work that day next week, or maybe it'll be the same again, and they won't work that again. So, yeah.
the plus side, we've got another game tomorrow. Buffalo, New Jersey playing again. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to try to watch it. Let me know your thoughts on all this and more, though, down below. If you enjoyed today's video, please drop a like. And if you want more content, there's a new basketball, football, and hockey video on screen right now. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. You know, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Some
and
things
after 2
never
games in
change.
Prague, the Buffalo Sabres are at the bottom of the NHL at 0-2 and have been officially eliminated from cup contention. Just kidding, but they also did rack
what?
up 2 L's and also got absolutely trashed by the Devils' social media team. Look for yourself. Playing at 0-2, going 0-2, it's funny stuff. I know they had that one saved in a folder just in case. And all Devils fans are going to be cheesing after this weekend now that Lindy Ruff is gone, all the youth has been unleashed, and the kids are feasting. Seamus Casey got the Devils on the board to tie it up in the second after Tage Thompson had already gotten on the board for Buffalo. And that's Seamus' first career NHL goal as he goes for the finesse and hits the toe drag. Some nuggets to pull that off.
I gotta learn what that word finesse means. Finesse meaning.
To pull that off,
I'm
but what a
very
beautiful
disturbed
first goal.
after
And
looking
that's
that up.
consistently one of my favorite storylines during the first month of every NHL season. All the young guns scoring their first ever goals. Hockey is a brutal sport with a ton of carnage. We saw that this preseason. Many clubs got nasty scares, and you never know how many games you'll have in your career. But once you get that first goal, you're officially in the books. No one can ever take that away from you. You can tell your kids about scoring in the National Hockey League. Paul Cotter would then score a beauty,
A
his
boy.
second in 2 games and the game winner. And by the way, he's also now your NHL goal and point leader after a weekend with the boys in Prague. And of course, we gotta give a shout out to channel favorite and Moosehead legend Timo Meyer. As he grabs his first of the year, Brat goes cruising into the O-zone. Around the net, he hits Timo, who's crashing the crease for a tap-in. 3-1 goes game 2 of the season, again to the Devils, as they sweep Buffalo back across the ocean. For Buffalo fans, I thought Levi at times looked pretty good. Tage scored. I don't know what else you can take away from this that's super positive. But what did you think? And what did you think about the NHL's whole trip to Prague? Do you like that the NHL continues to open this season this way? As I talked about in my video yesterday, I don't mind the overseas game. It's just so weird that the preseason is still going on. Well, 2 teams are already 2 games in. But again, my thoughts, yours below. If you enjoyed today's video, please drop a like, and if you want more content, there's a new basketball, football, and hockey video on screen right now. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
There's more. Did I mention that there's more?
I've never voted for Trump.
Nope.
Man, I'm so excited that hockey is back. Not just the NHL.
Oh God, I'm
but
gonna get
also
copyright claimed
CIS,
by
Canadian University Hockey,
Amazon
the
Prime.
CHL, and the subject of tonight's video, NCAA puck. And we had a beautiful, beautiful goal from Abby Murphy of the Minnesota Golden Gophers on the penalty shot. She skates in, fakes like she's going backhand or 5-hole, floats it right over the goalie's glove with the Datsuki and move. Then she hits the dab, which is just hilarious. My 6-year-old son has been dabbing everywhere. Like, it's actually a problem. I don't even think the dab is relevant anymore, but I gotta show him this video.
No, it's not. If you dab, you're so stuck in 2017. Or 2016. I'm so old that I can't remember what year it stopped.
I love Abby Murphy, though. She's so funny. Last year, she pulled the Greg slap shot on the empty netter. You know, for us Canadians, she's kind of a villain because of her presence always on the U.S. women's team. But this penalty shot was cold. I love it. For those who don't know, I'm going to put Datsuk's version of this. I don't know if he was the one who invented this move. Let me know down in the comments if you know. But Minnesota would win this game 5-2.
No, it was obviously
moving to
Wayne
4-0 on the
Gretzky.
season. Let me know
Or
your thoughts
Mario
about this
Lemieux.
more down below.
It was Mario Lemieux, yeah. Utah goal.
Well, the NHL season fully gets underway tonight, and for Rangers fans, the drama started early.
I've been
I know
doing
that
this
because
for
I'm a
a
Rangers
half
fan.
an
I was very
hour.
annoyed to see the notification which popped up on my phone from Sportsnet. According to Kevin Weeks, Igor Shesterkin has turned down an 8-year, $88 million contract. An $11 million AAV would be the highest for a goaltender in NHL history, beating out Carey Price's $10.5. But for Igor, it's apparently not enough, and this has me very concerned. Now, Igor probably sees that the cap is about to probably take some pretty big jumps over the next few years, and he's probably looking at Price's contract, Bobrovsky's contract in terms of cap percentage spent on goalies. $11 million comes in at just under 12%, while both Carey and Sergei were north of that. But I don't know, this is so damn disappointing. All summer, there's been talk about how this is basically the last dance for this Rangers team, especially given Trouba. And yeah, there's not going to be a discount here. Igor is trying to squeeze the team dry, which is certainly his right. He wants to set the goalie market and the standards, but it also feels a bit like this contract may anchor the team. Getting Trouba off the books will help. I think the Rangers need to decide what they're doing with Philip Hedl as well. His health is obviously a massive question. Kako, also a big question mark. But the Rangers also have Keandre Miller, who they need to re-sign. And if you look at the team, I see a lot of Rangers fans saying, we're not going to do it. Let's just trade him. If he wants more than 12, he's going to have to go. And I understand that argument, but the Rangers aren't really in a position to rebuild. They don't have the assets. Players like Fox are too old. I mean, Fox is turning 27. The Rangers were ahead of schedule on their rebuild, and they're now quickly approaching the other side. So whatever Igor wants for his contract, he's going to need to play phenomenally throughout the entirety.
Phenomenal.
The Rangers are just not going to have a shot to win because he's not giving them the option for depth. He's going to need to be elite. Let me know what you guys think, though. Before Bobrovsky this year, a lot of people thought you couldn't win with a super highly paid goaltender in the modern NHL. The Rangers haven't won shit in my lifetime. Let's see if that continues. But yeah, as a fan, it's hard to see rationally through this. Like, when you see a goaltender turn down an $88 million contract, I think it's natural to see red a little bit. Is it worth compromising the rest of the team to go further in the 9 figures career earning territory? I don't think so. And I also think this story was purposely leaked by the Rangers for that reason. But we're getting into conspiracies here. This whole situation is definitely a little frustrating.
Conspiracy theory.
Just a reminder, with the NFL, NBA, and now NHL season starting or about to start, if you want to catch all the content we make, and yes, we do have other channels, you can check us out on YouTube or follow our Facebook page. We're going to be posting for the next few weeks, do some experiments. All our content will be there, and it's linked in the description.
Donald Trump intends
No,
to tax.
we're not doing that. I'm not getting political.
The NHL season is here.
It's gonna be long.
It's over, Boston Bruins fans. I'm sorry they added a new rule this year. If you give up more than 6 goals in your opening game, they send you down to the ECHL. I'm joking, obviously. But Bruins, Florida, it was an interesting game. We had goalie controversy, sort of. But first, I want to talk about an official just getting absolutely thwacked. Anyway, Max Jones for the Bruins and Evan Rodriguez from the Panthers, who, by the way, kind of looks like Jesse from Bar Down, are mixing it up in front of the net. Jones goes to smack Rodriguez with his stick, and he ends up hitting the linesman right in the arm. Hockey players have elbow pads which protect their forearms. Officials usually not. This would end up only being a 2-minute penalty, which I'm covering a lot of other different sports right now. I think football, basketball, somebody viciously hits a ref like this, even completely accidental, that's gotta be a game expulsion. Hockey's different, and I love it. Anyway, as for the goalie controversy, we all know that Swayman signed his big deal, but due to the lack of practice time, he was backing up Korpisalo, who, well, he got lit up. In the second, Florida fans were saying, we want Swayman. The Bruins, I think, did not see any benefit to that, and I agree. You want to start the guy off on a good note, not coming in hold against the Stanley Cup champions who were red hot. Anyway, I thought Florida looked really good early on. They had the first 4 or 5 shots. Korpisalo gets hit with a high one. He's not able to manage the rebound, and Sam Bennett opens the season scoring for the Cats about 6.5 minutes in. Second one, a few minutes later, honestly not that different. Boston once again just getting outworked in their zone. Florida crashes the net hard. Korpisalo can't control a rebound. 2-0. However, the Bruins would manage to get one back, and shorthanded, this was a funny one. The Bruins are trying to dump it in. It bounces off the Florida player, finds Lindholm, he finds Zaka. 2-1. Unfortunately for the Bruins, the Panthers know how to do that too. This was like the most early season goal of all time. The Bruins power play, McAvoy, clearly not just in it yet for the season. The puck gets misplayed. Sam Reinhart, just a gorgeous shorthanded goal. He raced up ice, beat everyone. He had 5 shorties last season. And somehow that wasn't the most in the NHL. Anyway, Florida would grab one more, just like the others, sort of bad control of the front of the net by the Bruins, and Korpisalo's not able to track a rebound. He didn't look awful really on any of these goals, but he didn't look strong either. This is a game, I think Florida was probably winning either way. I mean, they came out hot, but Swayman could have kept it closer. Of the other 2 he gave up, I'd say one was pretty ugly, but that's it. I started recording this one near the end of the third. The Bruins did manage to put 2 in to keep it close. What did you think of this game? Kind of a boring one, in my opinion. Panthers put this one out of contention pretty quickly. Let me know your thoughts on all this and more, though, down below.
I'm going to just do the spin. We can do a part 2 if you want. End of, like, we might do an election special one. Maybe we could do that. That'd be interesting. Yeah. But anyway, let's look at the wheel. I think I might have spelled wheel wrong. Wheel. We added the Utah Hockey Club. The Predators. The Nashville Predators schedule.
The Predators will be playing the Avalanche at Bridgestone Arena tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Alrighty. So today's November 1st. Tomorrow, November 2nd, is the first game that the Predators are playing. They're playing it against the Avalanche. I'm predicting that'll be 4-3. I think it's going to be very close. Kings, I think it's going to be 5-3. The Predators are going to win. Capitals versus Predators, I think it's going to be 3-2. I think the Capitals are going to eventually come out on top in the third period. Panthers versus Predators, I think it's going to be 5-1. I think the Panthers are going to dominate during the whole game. Utah versus the Predators, I think it's going to be 4-3. I think the Predators are going to come up short in this game as Utah wins this game. I think they're going to win by 4. Utah's going to win by 4. The Predators are going to lose by 3. Once again, I think it's going to be 3-2. I think it's going to start getting closer. Predators versus Oilers. I think they're going to be tired after the last game, so I think it's going to be 1-3. Flames versus Predators. I think the Predators are going to come out on top 5-3. Canucks versus the Predators. I think the Canucks are going to come up big 1-2. Kraken versus the Cracks versus the Predators. I think the Predators are going to come up on top, and I think they're going to go 4-3. Let's say 4-3, yeah. Just versus Predators, I think the Jets are going to win 5-3. Devils versus the Predators. I think your mom's gonna win. I'm kidding. But seriously, I think I'm calling this for the Devils 5-3. Flyers versus Predators 4-1. The Predators are gonna come out on top. Lightning versus Predators. I think the Lightning are gonna come up big 4-3. Predators versus Wild. I think the Wild are going to lose by 3, and I think they're going to win by 5. Maple Leafs versus Predators. I think it's going to be 3-1. The Maple Leafs are going to win. Actually, that goes into December. So let's stop against the Wild. Yes, I do think they're going to lose. Yes, I do think they're going to win their last game. And we're going to have a Christmas theme one. Hopefully we can finish, do a part 2 to this on November 5th or 6th, possibly. It's going to be in the afternoon, and it might even be premiering, like this video. So, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, like and subscribe for more content like this. And I'll see you in the next video.